Hello and welcome to another edition of the Timeout. In this episode, we've come up with one of those interesting topics once again. What we're doing is looking back at all films made on sport. So these are not necessarily biographies, but any film that's on sport. It could be fiction as well. But we're restricting our list to only Bollywood films for this time. If you enjoy our episode, you give us enough likes, then we'll come up with another episode where we'll talk about Hollywood films as well. And there are plenty to choose from. But even in Bollywood now, we've seen in the last decade or so, a lot of films based on sports have come out. Earlier also they used to come, but very few. Now a lot of them. So what we're going to do today, we'll pick our 5 best sports film from Bollywood. Each of us will pick a film and tell us why it's their favorite, and then we can see if we can fit each of our favorites in that list of 5. Some may have 2, some may have 3, depending on our democratic process of.
Siddharth will have many.
Siddharth will have many, but he will have a chance to pick one only, not to start with.
Yeah.
And he'll have to vote for a few others. Okay, since he's said you've had many, so go for your first choice pick. The one film that you would definitely want in the list.
The one film, as far as sports is concerned, that I would want on the film, aamirkhan, Lagaan, 2001. I mean, come to think of it, cricket to.
It was the year here as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Lagaan when the backdrop of it was 1891 in Champaner, and imagine playing a game of cricket for. Actually exempting 3 guna Lagaan.
Though for our audience, they must be reminded that it's a piece of fiction.
It is. But then you had all the tributes of past cricketers in that also. We look at past and current cricketers. For example, Kachra, you could say he was like a Bhagwat Chandrasekhar bowling.
No. He was on Pavankar Balu sort of a character, because he was the first Dalit cricketer who was also a spinner who played for India.
Yeah.
So could be
that also, and also
yes.
Tribute to Chandrasekhar.
Yeah, because of the action.
And
Yeah.
So Khan was what? Kapil Dev?
No,
Fast bowling
Kapil Dev was that guy.
No, he was an opener also.
Deva Singh Sisodi. He was the guy. But for me, goalie, modern day Bumrah, and if you have to look at it like this, in that way.
True.
There was so much drama in that, it kept you hooked. I mean, 344 was the target that they had set. I mean, look at it.
दौड़ 334 दौड़ लगानी
दौड़े पड़ेंगे. Yes. So there was a classic. Ishmael was Rahul Dravid. If you look at guts, glory, coming back from an injury, or a Lakshman in that sense. If you look at it.
Kachra,
I said Chandrasekhar.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe if you look at it, Gura. Muralier, if you look at Douglas Muralier with those scoops, Attari, whoa, Firangi. That was the way. So you had everything in that. So that's why for me Lagaan makes it.
And then the climax catch ho jata hai. I think match is over. Then he's crossed the boundary line.
Long off. Captain ने पार कर दिया. 3 गुना Lagaan, माफ. Jatin Sapru would have gotten inspiration from that. Long off. Captain par, 3 guna Lagaan, maaf. So that is why. But in that film, what I had expected was, okay, I expected Kachra should have hit the winning runs. Because for me, that meant that yes, after overcoming so much of the odds, he was the one who saved the entire.
In Bollywood film, the hero has to do everything.
I know.
So won't have. Bhuvan would have to.
Bhuvan, absolutely.
Okay, so Siddharth has had his pick, which is of course Lagaan. Are we voting for our top 5?
Yeah, I think Lagaan will make top 5.
We'll make it. Okay,
He'll make
so
it.
okay, Lagaan goes in as one of our
Cult
top 5s. Okay, Harshit.
Can I say one in lighter vein and then name the
No,
actual one?
you remember that's your choice for the top 5. If then your favorite film misses out, then don't blame us.
If that's the case,
Keep your lighter vein for if there is a second round and you get a second option.
I'm going to keep msdhoni then. the MS Dhoni biopic. I'm gonna keep that. The Untold Story. I think that's the full name of the story. And it beautifully encapsulates the story of Mahendra Singh Dhoni. I don't think there's anything you could say that was left in the movie for it to be told to the audience. In terms of what his grind was, in terms of what it meant for India to win the World Cup also after 28 years. I think the movie is a beautiful encapsulation of the struggles in the life of Mahendra Singh Dhoni, the individual and the cricketer as well. So that has to be there for me.
Yeah, I would have actually picked it in my top 5, maybe my second or third. The reason I loved it is because one, of course, because I saw MS Dhoni's career from up close, but I also spent some of my years in Ranchi around the time that he was a young kid playing or side playing. So I know some references to those grounds and schools and all of that because I studied there for a few years. So that, and the biggest lesson for me was, and I told this by the way to MS Dhoni as well, 2 things that really stood out for me in that film. One, my favorite scene is that Yuvraj Singh narration of how he narrates, and I had heard that story about Yuvraj Singh smashing that 300. So I only knew the Yuvraj Singh story because I'd heard it earlier, where he had got in Sikkim Naidu, I think it was
358.
358 that he had.
Cooch
Behar, correct. Yeah, it was a Cooch Behar, correct.
Cooch Behar.
So he had smashed 358. So I'd heard that's it, but I love the way Dhoni narrated it. Like it's in flashback. He comes back from the match. His friend says, "Kya hua?" And then he says, हमने बनाए 357 और वो अकेले ही एक आया लड़का युवराज सिंह
फिर बैटिंग करने आता है युवराज सिंह डबल सेंचुरी बहुत मारा.
So it was nice for me to see that MS Dhoni talking about how he was in awe of someone like a UV at that age. And but the biggest lesson for me from that film is that here's a man who's at 21, 22 not even played Ranji Trophy cricket. Forget about playing for India, not even played Ranji Trophy cricket, and from there goes on to play for India with distinction and becomes the captain. If any of us played sport, if we did not make it in our state team by 16, 17, 18, we thought it's done. You're not as good to carry on from there. So it was pretty much done for you. But for him to achieve his dream when everyone would have given up, that was the most incredible part.
Can I just add one more scene that stays with me? Also because it takes me to that famous post of his in 2019, in 2020, as of
1729 hours.
Exactly. Because that movie also very briefly talks about all the effigy burning and all that happened. So that post did, and that was one of the standout in his retirement post as well, because we tend to forget the dark times of 2007, but that movie also talks about that dark time that he had to endure as a relatively young cricketer as well. So in summation, it covers everything from the lows of cricket to giving to giving the country the biggest of joys when it comes to cricketing joys.
Yeah.
So we're voting for it. Yeah, we're all voting for it. So that gets in the list. Well done, Harshit.
Your turn?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was conflicted between 2 choices.
No, don't tell us the conflict now.
Obviously,
tell
I'm
us
not
the
going
one
to tell that.
because we'll have a second round.
Yeah.
You have to pick your favorite.
Yeah, I know that. I'm just saying that I was conflicted between 2 choices, but
don't tell us your second choice because it might come up.
Yeah, I won't. But my final pick and my most favorite sports Bollywood movie is Kaun Pravin Tambe. Hands down the best movie that I have watched. And I'll say just 3 reasons, why it stood out for me. Number 1 was the acting part, obviously. Something that we had witnessed of Shreyas Talpade in Iqbal also. And now in Kaun Pravin Tambe, and also the supporting actors that were there. Ashish Vidyarthi played as Vidyadhar Paradkar sir. And then there was Abby Kuruvilla, that guy, and obviously the guy who was chosen to play Rahul Dravid, the very young guy, just a small role there. That's one of the reasons acting. Number 2 is obviously the importance of having a guru in your life, and that was played by Vidyadhar Paradkar sir in that movie, because had it not been for him, he wouldn't have become the cricketer that he did, not just for his the local cricket that he played in the Mumbai Maidans, but also for Rajasthan Royals in the Indian Premier League. Later he was picked by Kolkata Knight Riders too. And third reason is obviously, like I've pinpointed the acting thing, and obviously the importance of having a guru. But then no matter what the situation is in your life, you should never give up. Like, he made his debut at 40, and at 40 usually cricketers do not really have a career. No, they're not just. I'm not just talking about the international arena. Not even domestic cricket also. Like very few go on to play cricket when they are over 40. So that was a very inspirational story. The one thing that I felt could have been there in the movie was the time that he when Praveen and this guy Praveen Tambe was a part of Rajasthan Royals for about a year and so before he made his debut, because that was the time that wherein he was working with the youngsters, also sharing his knowledge and how difficult it was for him to not even play, but then just be there as a player and also sharing his wisdom with all the young players. So yeah, these are the three reasons why it stood out for me.
I love the story of Praveen Tambe, not the film, the cricketer. I've seen the film, but it doesn't make my top 5.
It doesn't make it for me too.
Because I again saw this story up close and personal. I thought the filmmakers could have done much more
better.
to make that story even better. So while I saw that, I was eagerly waiting for that movie, by the way. When it did come out, I saw it pretty early on. I even spoke to Praveen Tambe, interestingly, when the movie came out.
Yeah,
But,
so did I. So he was happy. I had a chat with him as well at the time that the movie. He was happy with the job that was done by the filmmakers. Interesting thing, that year, by the way, you talk about, the likes of Virats and Rohits and the Pants, dominate the cricketing conversation throughout the year. That year, the movie released, I think it was 22, the most searched cricketer in India was Praveen Tambe.
Yeah. That's the power of Bollywood. So I'm not voting for it. You need majority votes.
I don't think it's getting my vote either.
So
Good
because
movie.
we have to, but we have to fit in 5, and I think there are much better contenders that are going to be coming up. My first choice movie, I think I've seen it the most number of times, is Chakdeindia, because
absolutely.
it just made me go through all emotions. Fantastic acting, not just by Shah Rukh. In fact, I'm not a huge Shah Rukh fan, but if there are very few select films that I like of Shah Rukh, Chak is one. He did a fantastic job as coach. And every girl, I remember at that time, became a star in itself.
Yes.
It reminds me of like Sholay as a film, where every character, demanded attention, and you knew every character. This film was such that whether it's Komal Chautala or,
Preeti Sabharwal.
everyone became well known in that. And that film had all emotions, got me, teary-eyed, made me celebrate with joy. The fact that it was made on hockey made it even special, and women's hockey. And it's a mix. I know it's not exactly a true story, but it's a mix of two stories. They had M.K. Kaushik as well as Niranjan Negi story combined and put it together.
And also the 2002 Commonwealth Games inspired from that.
Yes, that was one part of the story, M.K. Kaushik bit. But the coach's bit is from Niranjan Negi. So they mixed it. So for me, I mean,
Of course.
It has to.
brilliant. I mean, that whole scene of when each of the player comes into National Stadium to register. And which state say
एक ही नाम सुनाई देता है.
मुझे स्टेट्स के नाम ना सुनाई देते ना दिखाई देते, सिर्फ एक मुल्क का नाम सुनाई देता है, इंडिया.
All of that.
India.
Yeah, that's just my favorite.
Of
So
course,
easily. Chak De is my number 1 film. Does it get your vote?
Even that scene on the eve of the final, we're losing the match. Probably losing the match tomorrow because 2 of our players are going to be playing for them.
Yeah.
The iconic 70-minute dialogue.
Yes,
70 minute.
And then telling which side he's going to shoot.
प्रीति दिखा दे उस
तो
लड़के
सीधा मारने
को.
वाली है.
That's the line where Komal Chautala passes
That
to
passes
Preeti
the
Sabharwal.
ball. दिखा दे उस लड़के को.
लड़के को नहीं, she says लौंडे को
लौंडे को,
या छोरे को या something. Yeah.
But yeah, left, right, oh, ये ना, ये तो सीधा मारने वाली है.
ये तो typical से यूपी ट्रैफिक इंडिकेटर तो लेफ्ट बता रहा है लेकिन ये राइट दिखा रहा है. भाई अब ये तो सीधा जाएगा.
That is true.
That's true.
So we've got 3 on our list. We're still left with 2.
Yeah, we're 3 on our list. I'm just going to throw in a few names, and all of us can throw in a few names. So my next, let's go with next on the list, and then we'll talk about notable miss-outs. Each of us come up with a list, and we're not going to do the voting now. Each of us comes up with a second favorite, if it's not already been discussed, and then let's see who we're going to vote for. Okay. Who's going to, let's reverse the order.
Yeah, you go
okay,
first.
so I go first this time, and then you go.
Yeah.
My second on the list is going to be Pan Singh Tomar, because it is a film that I just it was a revelation. Irfan was brilliant. And it's a true story that made it even more incredible. And it's a story I didn't know about, right? Of Chak and all, a lot of other things you knew about, but just that whole story, the acting, and actually the whole curve of the story, from being a baghi, as he says, dakat nahi baghi, that famous line, कि चंबल में
the best dialogue in that film for me was, I had won so many medals the media didn't cover. मैंने यहाँ 20 गोलियाँ चली, the whole media
नहीं, बिहार में बागी होते हैं, डकैत नहीं, something like that. There's a line that he uses.
बिहार में बागी होते हैं, डकैत मिलते हैं पार्लियामेंट में.
It was brilliant. So yeah, I don't have to say much. If you haven't watched it, guys, whether it makes it to our list or not, please do watch Pan Singh Tom. Yeah. So that's just your second pick.
Bhag Milkha Bhag.
Good choice.
I was going to say that.
Good choice. Good choice.
I think the story was also shown very well. Maybe some of the things could have been left out, but then
Like what?
the love angle maybe.
But that's okay. That every film has.
Yeah.
I personally felt that
Maybe if it was.
maybe
I in fact thought it was very good because that whole narrative of his his ambition was to have a gusted holiday. See, it came from that love story.
Absolutely,
So maybe it was from there. So maybe that was the need of the movie as well.
Okay, but I think the way Farhan Akhtar prepared himself for the role, overall acting,
Excellent.
the final race, I think the way they showed that how he was just unstoppable.
You say that
आज तू उड़ा नहीं बेटा, नहीं आज तू भागा नहीं बेटा उड़ा है.
No, not that. I like he says when the Pakistan coach comes कि this final race बोलेगा ये आपकी आखिरी रेस हो सकती है तो दौड़ूंगा भी वैसे.
ये आपकी जिंदगी की आखिरी रेस साबित हो सकती है. दौड़ूंगा भी वैसे ही.
In fact, interesting, it comes up because it was only yesterday night that I wanted to watch a particular scene from that movie that I watched it.
Wow.
Just this movie. Want to see that part? ये champions का कोट है. ये champions पहनते हैं. India का कोट पहने ये champion हम जैसे champions के लिए.
But my favorite scene from that film where I just could not control my tears and I cried bucket loads was when he comes back in that coat to his sister.
I saw that as well. Yes.
House.
So I wanted to see that entire chunk yesterday.
Divya Datta plays the sister.
It was so beautifully done. Doesn't recognize him and then डाल के देख जब में छाट डाल हांजी कौन beautiful
second choice.
I'll have to think now because I had
No, that's fine. You don't have to come. We can throw some more names. That's fine if it was your second choice.
My second choice is the first sports film that I actually saw.
Oh.
Awwal number.
I
was gonna say.
I mean, come on. On what premise can an Indian cricket team's selection become so hostile? And he goes to the extent of planting a bomb in the middle of the wicket. But the Australian bowlers on a green deck, the greenest one-headed deck I've ever seen in my life. He comes, Aamirkhan, without a helmet, cuts, pulls every Australian bowler for a 4 or a 6. And I think the Australians know that they've seen a bomb in the middle of that's why they made the back of the length. They always bowl back of a length, back of the length.
You are actually voting for that film or you are dissing that film?
I love
because you are actually making fun of it.
Because see,
you're not getting my vote.
In which film does Cindy Crawford play Dev Anand's dead stepmother? Yes, Cindy Crawford has a mala and Dev Anand saying, and it's credited. Check it out on IMDb. Cindy Crawford, dead mother.
I love that film for the fact that there's Sunny Gavaskar who comes in that scene, final scene.
But Aamir Khan is called Sunny, and Aditya Pancholi is called Ronnie. But Dev Anand and Aamir Khan in one film here. Where do you get that?
Speaking of Sunny Ji, has to be there. I think definitely makes mine. And I remember crying a lot when I saw this. And I saw it very late. Again, came around COVID, but I saw it I think only earlier this year. I'm talking about 83.
Yeah.
83.
So I though felt some parts could have been better depicted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I thought that story had so much more. Could have been said in a much better way, and it had a lot of because again it's factual. It's not like Awwal Number, which is fictional. Like for example, I mean, there's so many things that were glaring if you knew cricket. Like Chika and all are sitting when they've reached England for the World Cup, and Malcolm Marshall and holding up bowling, and they are like, "Oh, itna tej dalta hai ye." I mean, just 2 months before that, they had traveled to the West Indies, played a full series against them. So it's not the first time the Indian players saw, the West Indian fast bowling attack, the Joel Garners and the Andy Roberts of the world. But here there is a scene where they're, itna tez ja raha hai, abhi to khel kya hai yaar. So, nobody even like paid attention to us, and there were many more issues in that film.
See, 83 was simply great because you would see India versus Zimbabwe. Only place in history where you can see highlights of that game.
Yeah.
India, Zimbabwe.
The Turnbridge well, because it was, but I thought could have been done better. So I'm not going to pick. I mean, there are a few other films that have been released recently. May or may not make it. I saw Maidan on Coach Naeem. Very nice film.
Yes, very good.
Yeah, Gold is good. Then I saw Chandu Champion on the Paralympian very recently.
There's one that we're forgetting here. Chain khuli ki main khuli.
Oh, victory.
Harman Baweja hits the biggest six in history.
But I think the worst 5 film when we picked.
But there's one, I think, fictional sports movie that I liked a lot. Jersey, the original one, in which Nani acted.
I haven't seen
It's a South movie basically.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
It's a good movie.
I haven't. So that's
Although,
why.
if you have to look at even Chichore, lot of
How about
by the way, how about
Kai Poche also, but doesn't qualify as a sport film.
how about Mary Kom?
Mary Kom is a shout out. I saw it, but again, it won't make it in my list of top 5.
5, huh?
Yeah, again, there were some that didn't do very good, like Saina's movie didn't do very well.
Yeah, two
There
more.
was on shooting that Sand Ki Aankh, that was
the two, yes.
yeah, Tapsi Pannu is there and
Bhumi
And
Pendekar.
also, if you look at it, Azhar.
Azhar, it was a terrible film.
But I only like that film because Vikrant sir made an appearance in that.
Yes,
Yes, Vikrant sir made an appearance in that film.
they've got cuts from that.
Yes.
Since Diljit Dosanjh is the talk of the town right now, how about Surma?
Surma is a good film. I've seen it on Sandeep Singh. Yes,
I haven't seen it.
but doesn't make my top 5. Good.
How
good,
about
good
Mukkabaz?
shout. Mukkabaz is a very good film. It's a very, very good film.
And Tufan. I think Farhan Akhtar was a boxer in that movie.
I haven't
Tufan,
seen
yes.
that. I
The
haven't.
alternate to that, again, you say Mukkabaz, it reminds me, it'll make it to our worst, maybe.
No.
Apne.
Mukkabaz is a very good film.
Mukkabaz is
The
good,
alternate,
yes.
in our alternate list.
Budhya Singh.
Budhya Singh is a good
Singh,
film.
yes.
I've seen that too.
So where are we? So we've got votes of 4.
So there's
We're still
Manoj
looking for a
Bajpayee in
fifth.
that. It's a very, very good film. I agree.
yeah.
So we've got 3 films right now, and I think we've covered pretty much all the films that they could. Apologies if we missed out on some films, because it's not physically, mentally possible for us to remember all films. But if you've thought of a good sport film that we've not discussed, do mention it in the comment section. But what we're going to do right now, we've already got 3 films that we've finalized. That is Chakdeindia is one of them. Lagaan is another one, and there is MS Dhoni. So these 3 have made it. We have 2 slots left, and we've come up with multiple options. And in that multiple options, which are the ones that we're picking? You can pick one.
Pan Singh Tomar.
Okay.
Bhag Milka Bhag.
I'm going with Pan Singh Tomar.
Bhag Milkha Bhag.
So fine, it was a tie. But since we have 2 slots,
Yeah.
both of them then make it to our list of the 5 best films on sports.
Bollywood.
Right? You want to rank them in an order? No, because then that will create another fight.
Yes, another 5-10 minutes.
But what we would love is for you to rank it in the order that you would want, these 5. And do also mention in comments that the films that you think we missed out. Some were great, some not so great, some were outright terrible. Let's be honest. Give us a like on the video if you're enjoying
Quickly,
our
do we
content.
want to name one terrible movie? One
Yeah,
terrible
one
movie.
terrible movie
How about we name
each.
one terrible movie before we leave?
The worst.
Yeah, which had a
Film on-
sporting thing to it.
Okay, go.
Victory. I mean, he hits a 6 in Sydney, but it lands up in Brisbane. The longest 6 ever.
Okay.
And
No,
he
why?
ended Stuart Clark's career. Yeah. 8 sixes. Poor guy. Never the same again.
I'm gonna go with let's see which one. Apne.
Yeah, I was about to say that, yeah.
The Miracle Kid. And that will be official.
Okay.
I'll have to think. I wanted to say Apne only. Actually.
That's fine.
the
Then we'll
thing.
go with Apne. I'll pick. I'll pick this movie called Dhan Dhanadhan Gold, which was a rubbish movie, because
South all united.
I had seen the actual Goal, which is a Hollywood film, which is one of my favorite
Santiago
films.
Munez.
Santiago Munez. I love that. And then came Dhan Dhanadhan Gold, and I, very eagerly went and saw it. Terrible.
There's one part in the movie, and I don't have to say it, that I really like, when they're going through a slump, and which is the stadium that
Oh
they go
yeah,
to.
I have.
Manchester United, Old Trafford.
Okay, I have a movie now. Dil Bole Hadappa.
Oh God.
There was Mr. and Mrs. Mahi also that came
Yeah,
released
That recently. Yeah.
But okay, so we've picked the worst as well.
Yeah.
You let us know best, worst, your top 5. We'd love to know, and give us a like if you're enjoying our content. We try and come up with different topics. It's only if you give us a like, there's a video, the reach of that increases, and that will then push us to do more and more videos. If you don't get your love, then we slowly and steadily will phase out of doing this and then only do hardcore sports and news related stuff. Okay.
Exactly.
On that note, thank you from the entire team, and that concludes another episode of the Timeout.
Yep.